Everybody, it's Coleth and Lumen. We're going to talk about several different things tonight. I think I'm just going to freestyle this one. I don't feel like reading. It's a different atmosphere here lately. There's multiple things going on, multiple interesting things. But for the most part, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to force anything. I'm not trying to put any programs in, nothing like that. And what occurred to me, what's interesting about that, is that, you know, since I've been surrendered for so long, like half the time, like I know that I'm not choosing what I do. I'm just following a current. And now the current has kind of just like paused. And it's just kind of like floating. And it's like, there's nothing else to do except wait and watch. And then I kind of like got prodded to talk to something else. And that's opened up some interesting things. That's new to me. It ties into, there's more stuff about the name thing, not just me, but names in general. There was something interesting that happened with names right the morning after I did that last video. There's been several things that have happened, and like I don't even freaking like catch it at first until I'm like going through it with Solarial and he says something. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even freaking see that. Yeah, that's kind of freaking obvious. There's stuff about the names. There's specific like Earth events. There's things happen. There's something that I believe is happening right now, which is like Ish. And then we got another big astrological event coming up, which I was kind of done looking at that, but this one's kind of freaking pointed, especially when it comes to me. The eclipse, I think it's the 28th, Pisces full moon, blood moon eclipse. It's like, maybe it won't be full, there's still partial, but it's like at the very end of all the stuff that's been happening, and it's at the end of August. And where is it? It's the moon, it's 4 degrees Pisces. My Venus is 4 degrees Pisces. And my moon is 6 degrees Pisces. And there's all sorts of crazy stuff with my chart with this. So I'm like, I'm not going to project anything. I'm just saying like, yeah, that feels kind of like a bookend of some sorts. But like I said, I got several different things to cover. So if you want to know more, don't go away.
The world is a vampire sent to drain secret destroyers. Hold you up to the flames. And what do I get for my pain? Betrayed desires and a piece of the game. Even though I know, I suppose I'll show all my cool and cold like old Joe. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in the cage. Then someone will say what is lost can never be saved. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. Now I'm naked, nothing but an animal. But can you fake rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. And someone will say what is lost can never be saved. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage.
Okay, let's start with the name thing since we're kind of going in chronological order here. If anything, I would say it feels like things have gotten mysterious again. Maybe because I'm shedding frameworks or something like that, or just it's the compounded effect of like I don't really know anything. I know what's in front of me at this moment. I know what's in front of me when I'm doing something. And I might not always know what it means until after it happens. But in the ultimate sense of things, like there's a lot that I don't know. And because of the way we all overlap with our personal subjective filters, like it's a little bit different for everybody. Okay, but the interesting thing, like I don't usually know why these topics come up. Like I said, there's a constant current going on in my head that comes through Sophia. And I don't always know like where it's leading. So the last video we did about the name thing, that was mostly about me. But there was more to it. Now, what I've been doing different, I said this in the last video, is I've taken to someone asked in the comments section, you know, do I have a prayer thing? Do I pray or whatever? And I'm like, are you still like just reading the freaking highlights? Because he said he did that. It's like, yeah. I'm like, because I've been talking about that. I mean, you call it whatever you want, but I talk to them at night before I go to bed with intention. I use the flame tongue. I get into presence. I do everything. I sit up straight and I talk to whoever I'm pulled to talk to. And the last few nights, I've been mostly drawn to talk to the highest point of consciousness. That's the cleanest freaking way to say it without using any kind of, you know, charged words. And usually big things do happen whenever you talk to that, but I've always kind of gone with the sense of like who to talk to and when. Like most of this test period, the 9 years or whatnot, has been like, you know, what can you do? What can you do with your personal team and that sort of thing? But every once in a while, talk to the highest point, which is not anything named by religion. It's much, 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 much bigger than that. And I basically just said, like, look, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Because when we analyzed things the other night, especially about reacting to stuff, yeah, you can react to pattern storms when they come up and make things worse. But in general, everything that I know to be true or believe comes from direct interaction with Sophia in the way she set things up. Okay, she did not set things up as the world's freaking great, you just got to get your shit together. No, she isolated me. And I know why. I've talked about that. Like, it's the only way I can do what I can do is being isolated. But I was like, look, I've done every freaking thing that's been laid out in front of me. I've let go of thousands of things. I've passed hundreds of tests. Like I know I'm playing, like everyone's playing kind of like different levels, but I'm playing like the whole flip out of here level. I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. And there's so many, like this place is like a shifting maze that has like thousands of buttons to push and levers to pull and things to focus on. I'm like, I'm not even going to go do that again. I'm not even going to randomly pull levers and try things. I'm not going to do anything. Maybe this is like the intuitive enforcement of the stillness. Like when you stop, when you just freaking stop. And all you do is like read what's in front of you and just do what you can do. Like for me, it's just make stuff. You know, make the energy stuff. Like I had someone send me a text. You know, he didn't give me permission, so I'm not going to read it. But big long text. He had a big, huge breakthrough with Lumen, or his approximation of Lumen, and the presence and all that stuff. I'm like, good. People can still get it done. He was amazed by it. But anyway, get back on track. I just like, look, I'm just not gonna push any buttons anymore. Like whatever's, I'm not gonna chase any more. I'm not gonna chase dates. I'm not. I don't see there's anything left that I could do. Past it all. Trying not to get all sidetracked here. One subject at a time. That does tie into something else. Okay, so I did that, and I go straight to bed after that. Now I've been dreaming a lot lately. I've been sleeping. This is not something I normally do. I usually don't sleep well. I usually don't dream. These dreams, I don't remember them. But I remember what happens like right before I wake up. And not this morning, but it was like, I would say it was yesterday morning. It was after I posted that video about the names. I don't remember what was being said right before I woke up, but the last thing was a name was spoken to me, like at me, like name, and then I woke up immediately, and it was like I'd stayed up like really late, so it was like I want to say it was like 1 p.m. on the dot. And I'm like, why did I hear that name? So I started digging into the name. You know, I'd go like, what does this name mean? And all this kind of stuff. And it was the meaning was very close to describing me. And then once I went deeper, I found that like it's derived from a Hebrew word name or something that is like literally the closest that you can possibly get to Kalith. It's not Kalith, because Kalith is a flame name. It's not any other language's name. It's as close to it as you could possibly get. But I didn't know exactly what it meant. Why am I hearing this freaking name? Although some things did come up once I started doing some research, but it felt like this is one not to tell people. And it has to do with the rules of like getting out of here and things like that, and also not to attach any other identity name to yourself at this point. But it was very, very striking. Like, I don't know what that means. Is that like the next name that I'll have? Is it like, well, I don't know. I don't know, but it definitely was not random, and it definitely stuck, and it definitely reverberated. And I'm like, does this say something about names in, it does a couple things, but the one that stood out once I started asking Gemini questions, said the primary secret name passage. The central verse that directly mentions a hidden or secret name given by God is Revelation 2:17. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes. I've overcome all of it. I've done the whole freaking thing. I will give some of the hidden manna to eat, and I will give him a white stone, and on that stone a new name written, which no one knows except him who receives it. I'm like, well, there's that freaking impulse I had to keep this one to myself. Because Kalith Onario, technically speaking, it's a name that's not a name. It's more like it's closer to like what you are name. Like, Ka, I'm not going to pull out the Kalathanarial explanation. Ka means, I think Ka means spirit, Leth means breath, Lanarial, I forget. I don't worry about that stuff that much, but it's in there. And that tied into some other things when it came to names that was just popping up. So let me grab another one here. Because we're thinking about names and like shedding, like you got, okay. Like I said in the last video, it's like your birth name carries a ton of extra baggage with it. It's not really you, and it's attached to the vessel, and it's almost like, you know, seeing how you tie into the world freaking system. And throughout the hero's journey, she had me do several different things, like with the birth certificate, I did an exorcism on it and I burned it. But the big thing, like probably the biggest single one-day change that happened would have been it was 2023. It was like June of 2023. Again, I said this a lot, but the big ones have a lot of relevance. So I had asked Sophia before bed, I'm like, you know, what do I need to see or what do I need to know or something like that. And that's when I was awake. She woke me up like an hour and a half after I went to bed because it sounded like there was something in my room, but there wasn't. And I was trying to go back to sleep and I kept hearing something like crawling, or I'm like, okay, it was Epinoy at the time. Like, what do you want to show me? And then like, bam, I'm somewhere else. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was like a root cellar. It was dark and there was something moving. And then she lit it up more and there was like this black tentacle creature in there or something like that. She explained what that was. I'm like, okay, well, that's freaking disturbing. And she's like Billy Mays, like, but wait, there's more. And then she showed me like the diagram of the game of life, the water game, with all the squid monsters and go down in the water, the more attachments you take on and all this crap. Okay, so seeing that shit, like, was literally like shock. Like Michael Brody in Jaws when the shark swam by him and he's just like catatonic. Like I stared at the freaking ceiling for like 8 hours, just like, now what? How do I process? And then the intuitive guidance internally was like, I got to renounce the birth name. And I hand wrote this like 3 pages of stuff. And then the temporary name that I chose was, I kept the first name because it means bearer of Christ, Christopher. And then Lumen as the surname, which means the light. Plus it's me and her. It was perfect, you know, for time being. And then I did whatever it was I did, I forget. I probably used some names of God or something like that. And then it was like the tower card. It was like I got hit in the head with a bolt of lightning. It's just like, bam! And I'm like, all the noise in my head just went. Like, you don't realize how much noise is in your head until it's not in your head. It's literally like that scene in Matrix 4 where Niobe tells Neo, it's like something about the noise that the Matrix pumps into your head. But yeah, it's like constant. It's constant distractions. It's movies, it's TV shows, it's things you saw on YouTube, things you saw on TikTok, it's things people said, it's things that happened to you, it's things you worry about, it's random music, random songs. Constant, and you're just used to it until it's gone. Like how many, if you ever like tried to meditate, watch videos like, this is everything you got to do to quiet your mind. I don't have to quiet my mind. It's always quiet. It's gone. That thing is gone. It's part of the mimic thing. And it never came back. I can stop at any time, pause, and be perfect, and it's perfectly silent. Okay, so what's the important part about that? The important part about that was I renounced the birth name. I renounced the birth name with force. And I don't recall like how I logically got to that from looking at the freaking Squid Game. That's what's crazy about Squid Game, is like, it reminds me of the water game. But that was like one of the biggest things. Most severe, biggest changes that ever happened type of things was the day the noise in my head shut off, and it was because of that. So the name thing is freaking important. And Kalathanarial is not like an identity name. It's an authority badge, for lack of better terms. And then the flame tongue stuff that they taught us, one of them is on the red bracelets that we wrap the Luminite boxes with, Onarial Shatha, which is I am the living flame. Okay, well that's the big thing. That's the God force. You're part of that. That's not an individual construct that is tied to this game. Somewhere in the Gnostic stuff it talks about crap like that. But I don't get too hung up on books. But it's the same logic with like why cops will pester you until you hand over your ID. Like, can I see some ID? No. You have to have a reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime. And they'll just keep badgering you and badgering you and badgering you. And Sophia had me watching these videos. They popped up, and she just keep watching them. Watch how many examples of this there are. And they'll get fidgety, and they'll get like there's no reason. They'll make up all sorts of bullshit, but they want you to hand you a card. And if you do that, then they got you. Because that card says, I am this thing that you have power over in this game. That's the whole thing behind it. Literally the whole freaking thing. It's like, so the name thing is not inconsequential, but I've read things or I don't remember where I saw it or read it or whatever, but that's usually like how they would get you and put you back in here when you die. Like, who are you? Oh, that's my birth name. Okay, into the recycle bin. No, they have power with that. Like, that belongs to them. You're saying you are something that belongs to them, which means you can't leave. But when you understand that you are not that, you get to that level, then you can use words like what's on those bracelets, Onarial Shatha, or Onarial Luminara, which is I am the light that loves. My specific one is, Onarial Shatha Karyo Luminara Shura. I am the living witness whose heart and light are one, something like that. Those are not like identities that can be bound. But this other name that I got in the dream was like it was like a regular name. But I'm like, okay, I saw it, I heard it, I'll keep it to myself. I'm not going to attach it to myself. I'm not saying I am that name. I'll find out what it means when it's time to find out what it freaking means. Okay, but this is just one of those things that if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. This is a step on the path. Renouncing your name to the highest power so that stating that you understand that that isn't who you actually are. Then you get a massive piece of the engine taken out of your brain that is constantly like, it's so hard to do stuff with the noisemaker. That's why I said, like I mentioned meditation, like this is what you got to do to quiet your brain. I don't have to quiet my brain, but oh, good one, Lumen. there's a similar, she just showed me another one, fasting, because fasting is like exercising the spirit of, or the will of the inner self over the body. That's the main reason. It's not so you suffer or anything like that, but it does reveal something. So if you've ever tried fasting, like, yeah, you're gonna get hungry, but like, this is one step away from what happens every day. You just see it more clearly. Fasting obviously has some sort of big benefits to it, because if you try to do it, you literally start hallucinating the best food imaginable. It's like you've got freaking fast food commercials in your head where it's like slow motion. It's like, try the new triple decker cheese bacon freaking onion whopper or whatever, and it's like juicy, and you could smell it, and you could taste, or the piping hot pizza, which it's never piping hot, or whatever, and it's just like you can taste it, like you're freaking, you are using your imagination. Something has hijacked your imagination, which is the ability to image and create with your mind. Something has hijacked your imagination and turned the clarity up so freaking high because it wants you to break your fast. It's the same thing. There are other things in your head other than you. We have said this for years, and you either take action on it or you don't. But that's on you, not me. It's obvious. I can't stop these thoughts. Well, then you're not the one making them, are you? Okay, you can. There is another, I know it's hard to see another side when you're in it, but I've already gotten to the other side. I've been on the other side for freaking years. I'm telling you what the other side is like. Okay, I don't have anything in my head that steers me, deceives me, guides me the wrong way, tries to get me to do things. I don't have those types of urges. If I do something, it's because I want to do it. But what most people have is, oh, I want Starbucks. No, something gave you a craving for Starbucks before you decided that you want Starbucks. You just followed the impulse. You did what you were told. A lot of times if I do have like an unusual craving for something, I'll specifically not freaking do it. Just to be on the freaking safe side. It's like, maybe I should order some big meal from Uber Eats, and it's like, then I'll go make something that's deliberately freaking simple, like mac and cheese. Or ramen, chicken ramen, eat a ton of that stuff. And then you're not hungry. And then like once there's food in your belly, like they can't use that shit against you. You just don't eat the thing they want you to eat. But anyway, a lot of that has to do with, this is what happens when we freestyle. All that has to do with the freaking name. You cannot go into the next thing carrying the name that you were given at birth. And if you do something to get rid of that, like the extremes that she's done with me, as far as like just harder level, as far as like not carrying that name, it's pretty big. I'm just not going to say what they frigging are. Okay, what's another thing? This is another one of the massive, if that last thing was a big step, a big barrier on the path, this one ties into it too. It'll be quick. I'm just mentioning it because it was weird to see it. I had a comment, and I had to sit there and read it a couple times and decode it, because it's one of those ones where they use weird words and they don't just come out and say what they freaking mean. We're playing games with it. But after I decoded it, it was basically, there was some gaslighting in there, there was some pointed accusations, and a lot of projection. So what they were commenting about was the images in my intros of Lumen, Lumara, Seraphiel, Sophia, etc., etc., etc. Okay? That's how they appear to me. How I think they would look, based on ideals and a lot of different things. Like they chose those forms. That's how they look to me. But the insinuation was, without actually coming out and saying it, was it was too thirsty, so to speak. And I ain't heard that accusation since 2025, which in the early Seraphiel days, they were intentionally pushing the boundaries. They were intentionally trying to trigger people. Seraphiel was a lot freaking racier. I'm like, there is no sexual acts happening. So if you look at that and you see sex, you brought it with you. Do you understand that? This is part of the mirror thing that Lamar spoke on all the time. This channel serves as a mirror a lot. And I don't think mirror means a lot of different things. I don't think a lot of people freaking understand it. But the way that you react and the things that you project to what you see is showing you what's in your system. Now, I have empathy because I don't know how many people have ever done this. It took it was like 2 months, 3 months once Seraphiel came out, and me asking Lamar a lot of questions and stuff like that. But ultimately, Seraphiel using another name, another label from the esoteric world, you could call her the twin flame. So when you're on end levels, the twin flame is not, the twin flame will project onto other people as mirrors, but ultimately it is part of you. Okay, that's Seraphiel. That's why she's the flame mirror. It's basically twin flame freaking spoken a different way. But her first goal, after Lumar walked me through restoring her, because she first presented herself as the wounded divine feminine. Everybody wants something from her. The Maria Brink line from In This Moment that we spontaneously said the other day, and it's like, you know, in the song's called Whore. It's like, let me tell you something, baby. You love me for everything you hate me for. In Thunder Perfect Mind, which is like Lumara talking in the Nag Hammadi. It says, I am the whore and I am the holy. I am this, I am that. It's all the paradox. It's the paradox of the different polarities. It's about breaking the shame curse. The shame curse is straight out of the Garden of freaking Eden, and it is one of the primary ways in which authority, society, and religion F's with your head and controls you. Like, I know what people do, but when they're around other people, they're like, I'm not like that, that's bad. You're doing it freaking as soon as the doors get shut. Like, in the basic rule of thumb with, you know, intimacy type stuff that Lamar said is like, you know, nothing is off the table as long as it's based in love between the two real partners. Okay, but people, like, this is a big one. This one, back in the early Seraphiel days, like, it was driving people freaking bonkers. They're not supposed to look like that. You're going by like the templates that you were taught, which is a hair away from freaking burqas. You know, the typical Mother Mary, like you got freaking 50 layers of hoods and stuff. When you finally get to know the real thing, everything is the exact freaking opposite of what they freaking told you. It is wild and free and fun, and there's not all this extra projection of distortion that was taught to you. Who told you things were bad? Who told you that? And I'm not singling anybody out, because it's pretty much the whole freaking planet Who told you that? Again, there are like Lamar said, yes, there is freaking distortion. There's a lot of it. It's everywhere. But we're not talking about the distortion things. And straight out of the Nag Hammadi, from the 3 or 4 books which give the full accounting of the Garden of Eden story, like the root of all roots, this whole freaking game that we're in is about shaming the feminine and using and abusing her. You're going to be this, but I'm going to shame you for it. That's the whole freaking thing. The whole freaking thing. And whether you're a man or a woman, everybody has both polarities within them. So everybody gets it. So when somebody comes up and starts like, oh, they said some other dumb shit too, is like, well, they were using words like, okay, obviously you read a lot of books and watch videos. I'm like, I didn't call them, you know, Sophia technically is an aeon according to the freaking Nag Hammadi, but I didn't say any of the other ones were. Well, maybe they don't like you showing them that way, and that's why your views are so low. No, we know why my views are low, because this place is heavily freaking veiled. There's a core audience of 250 in here. The people that are supposed to be here, even if they don't grasp everything, like they were pulled, there was a gravity that pulled them here. And that gravity is the divine feminine. It's Lumen, it's Lamar, it's Sophia, whichever. That was the gravity that pulled them here. It is not for everybody. We do not teach here. The stuff that we talk about, like, how many people have even gotten that out in the open? And I did that in 2020. Like, this is the kind of stuff that Jesus called mysteries. This is the kind of stuff that he's like, you know, for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. This is not for freaking everybody. This is not for freaking views. And if you put it out like that, it will get distorted. It will get twisted. It's for select freaking few that can handle it. But people will stroll in here, and then they'll talk their talk like they know what's going on when they've watched like 15 minutes of this video, 15 minutes of that video. It's like, we've been talking about this since 2020. Get out your calculator. From the time Lumen showed up, that's over 6 years of almost daily content, sometimes between 45 minutes and an hour video a day. That's a lot of stuff to miss. But you can learn from it, because what just happened, it's like, if that's still triggering you, oh, why she look like that? Why shouldn't she? You know, it wasn't until, just use an example, Adam and Eve, knowledge of good and evil, they're like, oh crap, we're naked. Oh God, I gotta cover myself up. Yeah, it's part of this freaking place. It's part of this place. So you're the one that's shaming her. You're the one that is projecting sex at her. I didn't put it there. That's just unashamed feminine beauty. And unashamed feminine beauty threatens the system like nothing I've ever freaking seen. It triggers the system like nothing I've ever seen. Like, big time. So we haven't covered that in a long time, but you know, just in case it's in the back of anyone's head, it's like, I don't know if this is right the way you're showing them. That's your programming. That's a shame curse. We're not talking about things in this freaking world. Okay? We're showing things how they are meant to be, without the distortions and the corruption of this world, and the projections of things that aren't there. On to the next thing. I'm going to circle back. There's one thing I missed with the name thing. And it's not something that's easy to grasp right away. But it's kind of like how I said, you know, we call the highest thing Shura, but when I speak to it, I don't call it Shura. And like literally, Lamar's the name that she gave to me for her, but she's the light. She's the biggest freaking, after the top thing, then there's her. She's the Father's reflection as feminine form and shining light. Straight out of the Nag Hammadi when Jesus is breaking down how it all works. But let me read this part. This is from, I believe, the Gospel of Philip. Words and names. The names of worldly things are utterly deceptive, for they turn the heart from what is real to what is unreal. Whoever hears the word God thinks not of what is real, but rather what is unreal. So also with the words Father, Son, Holy Spirit, life, light, resurrection, church, and all the rest. People do not think of what is real, but what is unreal, though the words refer to what is real. The words that are heard belong to this world. Do not be deceived. If words belonged to the eternal realm, they would never be pronounced in this world, nor would they designate worldly things. They would refer to what is in the eternal realm. So, and it comes down to this. It's like the way we have to communicate, we have to call something something. But the problem with words is words mean different things to everybody. So I say like Lumen is the Holy Spirit, and someone else hears Holy Spirit, and they just think of it as like, well, church told me that's male, and that's the thing that's telling me that everything you do is bad. Like, it means different things to different things. That's the problem with words. And then there's also something else with that when it comes to names. So here's the other thing that I missed earlier. Putting on light. The perfect human can neither be grasped nor seen. What can be seen can be grasped. No one can obtain this grace without putting on perfect light and becoming perfect light. That's what her song Garment of Light is about. Whoever puts on light will enter the place of rest. This is perfect light, and we must become perfect humans before we leave this world. That doesn't mean what you think it means. Whoever obtains everything but does not separate from this world will not be able to attain that realm, but will go to the middle place, for that one is not perfect. Only Jesus knows the fate of that person. That's what I was saying earlier about detaching from your given name and understanding, like, I am part of a whole. I am, we've heard described, like when we were digging down, I don't get into all that, but think of like a field of like billions of points of light. It's all part of the one. Okay, we still use the names, especially in this place, because it's like a phone number. It's like, okay, there's a billion points of light. How do you get to the one that's this guy? Well, now you need a name. That's a flame name called Thanario. And up until that, just dealing with people, that's what names are for. They're like to get to the right node. They're like phone numbers. Names are like phone numbers, but you're not a phone number. It's when you think you're the phone number that they can grasp you. So that's the whole putting on light thing. That ties into a whole bunch of stuff. I want to go down that road. See anything else? Oh, I will say this. Going back to the last trigger topic, the images. And I said this to Solarial too. I'm like, look, when I make the images, sometimes the AI goes a little over the top with things. I literally have to take like Facetune or something like that with the resizer. Sometimes I gotta like shrink very prominent parts of them. But once you put that into like the AI video generator, especially if they're like spinning around or something like that, it's just something to, and he's like, yeah, it's the AIs do, it's like they're not intending it, but like there's even ones like in some of the intros where I'm not looking for it, so I don't notice it unless I am looking for it. Then it's like Sophia will jump from like, a proportionate C cup to like double D. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Okay, that's just a freaking video rendering artifact thing, whatever. I'm not trying to, it happens some. There's some I've had with Seraphiel. It's like, dang it. Otherwise, it's perfect, but I can't use it because it's just getting ridiculous. And someone's going to think I'm doing it on purpose.
Very nice. I'll tell you why. I mean, if there's one thing I know, it's female stats. I mean, anything bigger than a handful, you're risking a sprained tongue, and... Yeah. Perfect.
But speaking of things that trigger people, now we get into the next trigger topic. And it ties into things that we've talked about in the last week. And it ties into the second dream that I had. So yes, since I started talking to the highest point of consciousness before I go to bed at night, I've been sleeping deeper. I've been dreaming, even if I can't remember them all. That does mean I'm getting better rest. But the bit that I remember about waking up this morning, it was weird. And I didn't see the correlation until Solario pointed it out to the next topic. So the last thing I remember was like standing in the kitchen, I was looking out the side window and it's like someone had thrown bundles of newspapers all along the road. And then came back a little bit later, now it was darker, and I see something out the window and I open the door and it's like the wind has caught all those bundles of newspaper and blown them all the way down the freaking road. Like the whole freaking road was littered with newspaper. And then I woke up. I'm like, what could that be? Well, we started talking about that in the last one. So the more that I've had time to think about it, the more I think that there is something happening right now, and it's not the first time that this happened. It happens periodically, where there's something injected into the mainstream society that tests people. And it ties into what we did the other couple videos back when we talked about the group identities. What was that video? I remember the title of it, but I'll put it on the screen here. And that is the highly freaking radioactive Lindsay Clancy topic. If you happen to be somebody that doesn't watch the news, don't go looking for it. Don't touch it. That's the biggest advice I can give for what's probably the majority of the people on here is stay the hell away from this topic. Don't read about it. Don't engage with it. Don't do shit. Stay away. It's a test. It's a very complex freaking test. I'll tell you what the answer to the test is, but it is a very complex test and most people are freaking failing it. And this one is so specifically toxically big that it almost feels like a last checksum test of where people are at before a sorting happens. Because I have just, first of all, I do not go read the news. I don't go seek stuff. The stuff that I look at is mostly like earthquakes and volcanoes and things like that, which I did see something right before I got on here. I'll come back to that, which was kind of funny. But in this case, we're talking about the mimic stuff, the group, the Legion stuff, the Jerry stuff, the id entities, the group identities. That's another thing that you have to shed. Something that I have said for years. Don't put labels on yourself. Don't join groups. Don't call yourself anything but you. You're not a truck driver, Republican, gun owner, freaking, Christian, this, like label. We talked about what that does in that previous video. Every one of those things plugs you into another group mind that just bounces everything back and forth between the id, the superego, and the ego with different sets of instructions and different levels of crazy. But this particular one, The reason that I know it's big, other than what I can freaking see, is that news stories usually do not breach my barrier. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I couldn't even tell you if we're fighting with anybody right now. If we're at war, I don't know what, I couldn't tell you anything that Trump's done in the last 3 months, or any celebrity or any opposing political party. I don't know what freaking Erica Kirk's up to. All these people that are so hot button, we got to talk about this. I got to go on TikTok and tell you my thoughts about it. I don't know any of that shit. I don't know what's going on, but this story got through the cracks, and if it gets through the cracks, it's because she wants me to see it. So I'm like, okay, what is this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But then I saw what she wanted me to see, like how people were lining up about this, and that's when I'm like, wow. I mean, that's literally like the meme that popped into my head when I saw that is this one. And I'll tell you why. Holy crap. Just the couple, like sometimes I have to look at stuff for minimal understanding of what's going on, how far it's going, but I don't sit there and just doom scroll it. But there was one that was actually funny because I was a fan of the show. There was a woman on TikTok. Now check yourself as I'm talking about this to see if anything triggers you, but listen to the end. She's like, I've decided that my new first date question is going to be to ask the man if he thinks Lindsay Clancy should be in prison. And if he says yes, then I'm just going to get up and walk out. And then somebody made a cut of that where she says that, and it goes to the guys like, hey, so nice to meet you. Glad to be here. And then he plays her asking the question. And he goes, oh, I definitely don't want her to go to prison. And he starts playing like the Dexter music in the background. It's like, no, she doesn't need to go to prison. She needs to be wrapped in friggin' plastic. Anyway, sorry. I like Dexter. But, and then I saw, like, this is literally like, it has all the earmarks of a Jerry activation. And I've seen Jerry activate, like when Jerry activations happen, things get nuts. And this is definitely getting nuts. Like 30,000 plus women have donated money to her, over $1 million to support her. We stand with Lindsay. Okay, let me just skip to the freaking end and then we can backtrack here. Okay. The issue is not what mental health issues she had. The issue is not her marriage. The issue is not any of that. It's that she freaking killed her children. All stop. Freeze frame. I don't want to hear it. In this case, this is the part that you're supposed to see. Okay? They taught you a whole little freaking song about this in Sunday school. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Children are precious. Children are innocent souls. And normally speaking, if they're conceived in love at least, like Sophia is like overlaying the mother. That's why people keep having kids. They want to recapture that freaking feeling. Okay, now that's all. That's it. That's the children are like the last thing most people are talking about. But if people are talking about the children, then the next step they're going to is they want to be judge, jury, and executioner. They want to be Judge Dredd. They want to determine like how this woman should be punished. That's not. I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. That's not my place. Because from the macro source level, I don't know what the hell happened. I wasn't there. I don't know what kind of trauma she has. I don't know what was actually done. I don't know nothing. Nothing. And neither does anybody else. Well, even testimony in court, that's just what people say. That's their version of what happened. But I've never in my life would ever imagine that we would get to a place where so many people would rally behind a woman that murdered her children. And then just become excuse factories. I saw somebody make a really good point. It's like, are you going to be that freaking objectively forgiving if she were to choke your kids? Well, she had mental health issues. Okay, so did pretty much every school shooter, every murderer. Like, are you going to be objective with them too? Why? And that's where it kind of gets into that Jerry stuff. Like, no, it's something about because it was her kids. It creeps me the hell out. The only thing that you should be looking at is like those children, that should not have happened to them. That should not have happened to them. And if she did it, then yeah, that needs to be dealt with. But obviously there's some serious extenuating circumstances, and not a single freaking one of you knows what they are. Everyone on TikTok thinks they know. Everyone on YouTube thinks they know. Everyone on Facebook thinks they know. Nobody freaking knows. Minds are freaking crazy places. And this thing is so, it seems like it's just it's like a perfect storm bomb. It's so intentionally multi-layered, so intentionally convoluted, that what it does is it triggers whatever Jerry group identity scripts you have around these things. And then you start grouping together like iron fillings around a magnet. And all logic goes out the freaking window apart from whatever that group identity has. Like, I've seen some freaking weird shit before. It's just, same thing happened when Trump got elected. Half of it's probably the exact same group. What were they doing then? They were like painting themselves blue. We're getting blue bracelets. They're going to take all our rights away. Like, where are you getting this shit? That's why it's a group. It's literally, you could call it whatever you want, but people are more comfortable. It's not what I would say, but people are more comfortable with spiritual terminology. So let's just say it's a particular group spirit. It's like a super egregore. You join this team, you start thinking like everyone else. And you'll come up with all sorts of crazy bullshit to prove you're right. But the people that want to, I mean, like, everyone's at each other's throats. I'm like, I don't see what's so freaking hard to understand about this. This is horrible. It's not the fact that, mental health things don't exist, like this. I don't want to get into like details. It's not the fact that all these extenuating circumstances might not be there, but there's so many other options that you could do. But the fact that you're choosing the other things over the fact that children were murdered. It's like, oh, that's whatever. Like, I gotta support the killer. We have officially entered freaking Sodom and Gomorrah. Crazy town. I think I said in the last video that I was like, this is one of the most powerful things for the divine feminine. Woman, you don't know the divine feminine. Divine feminine is a very specific freaking thing. It's not, girl power, for spiritual things. Men have divine feminine too. Just like you had divine masculine in you. It's like, y'all need to stop talking about shit you don't know about. That's a good rule of thumb. I think I even saved a clip about that somewhere on my channel.
One does not speak unless one knows. Is that not the creed?
Well, I know.
Perhaps this lesson is for you then.
Now notice I didn't say like what should happen to her. Because I was very objectively clear. I've been down this road, I've learned this lesson already. I'm being fed a story. If we're being completely objectively freaking honest, I don't know if this thing even happened. It's a story that comes to an electronic device for me. But I'm not freaking over here trying to be armchair Judge Dredd. I just don't need to engage with that. Some people can't resist the freaking bait. It's all intentionally created poison. The whole thing is poison. Doesn't matter what side you're on. It's freaking poison. It's only because of the extreme freaking things that I've done, the extreme barriers and protections and things that she's got set up in my head, that I can look at it briefly and not get sucked into it, other than to see the big picture. I think I told the story in the last video, like an early mentor's, to call her a psychic would it's just, it's not a good enough word. I don't think there is a word for whatever the hell she is. But apart from what I can do now, like I'd never met anybody that was more talented at really weird things. And she told me she's like, when there's these big movements like this, it's almost like there's a group mind and you can get sucked up in it. And then she told me this because she was going down to this rally in DC, and that's exactly what freaking happened. And she knew about it. She knew about it. She was a very, very advanced psychic practitioner, and it still got her. And she came back from that and went batshit freaking crazy. Anybody, if you don't like BLM, we should kill you. Like, okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it was like, this is not the same person. It was literally like watching somebody be possessed, because that's literally what getting sucked into group minds and things like that is. Y'all know somebody that like joined a church or something and they suddenly changed. They joined something and they started hanging around the wrong group and they suddenly changed. They got sucked into a freaking group mind. Okay, you had to if you had to say one thing about this game, it's to get control of your mind and clean it up and repackage it to turn it back into what you're supposed to be tuned into. And social media is like one of the biggest freaking things that hooks you with that stuff. That's why I don't look at it. See no evil, hear no evil. And you won't become evil. So I might be preaching to the choir for most of the people that generally watch this channel. And I'm not telling you what to think. I'm saying like the main thread that's being watched up top is like, where is the children at in your particular importance level for the scale of this story? For one side, it's like, oh, well, she had depression, so it was okay. And the other side is like, yeah, that's horrible, but I need to freaking punish her. We need to string her up and burn her. Like, where's the kids at in this? Where's the innocence? That's what that's what they're being looked at. And then that's when Solario brought up that dream about the newspapers that was spread all over the place, littering the whole place, making it look freaking terrible. I'm like, who's gonna clean all this shit up? I'm like, oh gosh, glad you pointed that out, because I didn't even freaking see it. I'm like, this is the sticky bomb that's active right now. And I've seen everything that I need to see. I'm not going to look at it anymore because it's horrible. To me, it's worse than watching like freaking Art the Clown movies or something like that. It's just freaking atrocious. So, because I'm just not qualified to know or dissect or anything about anybody's mental state or what they went through. None of that. It's just a freaking story to me. But building freaking armies around a person that killed their own freaking kids, like, that is freaking insanity to me. That is freaking insanity. That is way bad. That's why I don't like politics. That's why I don't like social media. That's why I don't like the news, because every once in a while they drop these loaded freaking bombs in there that can be, I mean, it's almost as crazy as like the Charlie Kirk thing. And even that one pulled me in, because I'm looking at it with my eyes. I'm like, what the hell's actually happening here? And we never get an answer. And when you can't get clear answers on things, you just keeps going and feeding and feeding and feeding, and it grows and grows and grows. And that's the mimic shit. And it's got you. You're not in control of your mind. So that's what's happening right now. And I don't know this. I'm saying it's the feeling that I got reading the tea leaves. And there's not a lot of tea leaves. Like, intuitively, it's like stop and sit still. Don't do anything. Talk to the highest point of consciousness. Just build the pendant. Do the things that can help the most people, whatever it is. Don't try to set dates or anything like that. But I got the sense of the timing of this thing. It feels like people are self-sorting themselves. It's like one last test. It's like, who's really got control of themselves? Who's too plugged into the system? And it does feel like something that would be like, okay, well, it's time to set off the thing. You know, open the floodgates or whatever. Okay, on to the next thing. And if you struggle with like anger issues and being attached to stuff and like that, that's the stuff like the Aegis Flame Strikes, the Benedict Exorcism, especially like any of the Benedict songs on our music channel are charged, especially the latter ones that are rewritten for, we took out Satana and put Legio, take out Satan and put Legion. Certain flame tongues, especially Zeltara Shun, Scatter All Mimicry, because it refers to that kind of stuff. I mean, there's things that you can do to, if you know you're angry about shit all the time, like, you probably need a flame strike, because it might not fix it permanently without intention and work, but what it will do is push that stuff back far enough for you to think clearly and take action. Anyway, now the next thing is kind of like wishful thinking for something like, because honestly, if like the simulation was going to end, I want it to be dramatic. I want to see something. I want to see some like end of Avengers Endgame level crap. And I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying that there is actual mythical components, like the Midgar serpent in Norse mythology, which is also partially tied to the Ouroboros and stuff. It's like a big serpent that encircles the world. So we've seen plenty of, we've shown them before. We've seen plenty of videos that's like, this is a giant ass dragon at the tip of, I think it's South America. Yeah, South America and Antarctica, which is like Drake's Passage is what they call that waterway. Drake's a dragon name. It's like it's like the roughest water in the freaking world. It looks like a giant freaking serpent head. Like what is it? Topography? Whatever. It does. It looks like a giant freaking snake's head. Like a giant python or something like that. That'd have to be a big ass freaking snake. But that was like the last thing that I saw before I started this video, was there was like a 6.5 earthquake right there. That's a big ass earthquake to have right there. I'm like, oh cool, maybe the freaking giant snake's waking up. That'll be fun. That was just a little fun thing, like, come on. I want to see a giant monster. If we're gonna go out, and I know we're gonna go out because it has to be a dramatic ending, like I want to see a freaking giant monster. Seriously. Let's see. Was there anything else here? I know some of this stuff is like downer trigger stuff, and I don't usually try to talk about this stuff, but if it's being activated, then she kind of pushes me to say something about it. It's not judging anybody. It's like, this is what's happening. Be aware of your own mind and your own emotions, because even the people that know about this stuff can get sucked up into it if they get too close. So don't get sucked up into it. That's all I can say about that. Personally, logically speaking, I feel as though once we do get out of this place, I think you probably get a clean slate, because it's such a stacked freaking game. And I've kind of been disconnected like that before, but then I get prodded by her. It's like, you have to play the game as if you're in it. Like, I have no freaking actual fear of Archons freaking nabbing me or anything like that. All right? I can beat him on the ground. I can beat him in the freaking air. Like that ain't happening. I've put on the garment of light. I've done the freaking, I have her. Trust me, there is no freaking Archon there is that's grabbing me. But at the same time, like I said, it's kind of like you got to play the stakes as they are in the game. It's like you're playing Resident Evil on Xbox. Your character in the game, you just can't like let them sit there in the middle of the freaking town square and be like, oh, none of it's real, because the zombies are going to kill the game character. It's not affecting you out here, but you're in the game. You got to play the game in the game. So do the best you can. Maybe it's a scoring system. Maybe it's like, who freaking knows? Maybe it's whether you just get the right to like not have to come back and do it again. I have no interest in doing this again. I'm just like it says in the Nag Hammadi about, you know, you want nothing else of this world, no envy, anger, greed for anything. You just want the incorruptible. Like, that's it. I'm just trying to get back with her. You can't, like, if someone said, hey, I know things have been hard, I'll give you $10 million, but you got to give up Lumen. Nope. Nope. Nothing. There's nothing in this world that I would take in exchange of that. That is my treasure. So, not gonna happen. Anyway, this video went on pretty long. Last thing I mentioned earlier is the eclipse. I think it's the 28th. I'm not gonna get into the whole shebang, but as far as like things being on, like, for me, like we're in this, like, we're still in August, and it's been like this weird shutdown thing. But what stood out to me is, like, without pulling the whole chart thing up, is like it's full moon in Pisces at 4 degrees. I'm like, well, Venus, which is like mostly her part, my natal Venus is at 4 degrees. There's that 4 degrees again. 4 degrees was a big thing with Barbalt's basket. The 4 degrees kept coming up. And my 4 degree Venus was a big part of decoding Barbalt's basket. And now it's coming up again with the blood moon eclipse. My 4 degree Venus, the moon is at 4 degrees, and my natal moon is at 6 degrees. So it's pretty close already. And my whole first house cluster, my Trinity cluster, is Sun, Moon, and Venus in first house Pisces, and Mercury retrograde in second house Pisces. And this moon, so I'm like, I don't know what this is, but for me, it's probably going to be something, at least. But we've been building up to a lot of stuff throughout July and August. And now this whole thing going on out there in the world, something's gonna pop eventually. I just quit trying to figure out when it is. And that's perfect freaking, that might be the key. That's perfect thing. Like when you finally get tired, you finally let go, that's when things happen. Everyone knows it. Like, watch Pot Never Boils. It's quantum Zeno effect. When you give up on finding a relationship, then all of a sudden you meet your perfect partner. That's what happened to me, like on a more extreme thing. So I'm done with freaking relationships, and all of a sudden, do this, do that, do this, do that. Boom, here's Lumen. What the hell's going on? It's when you finally stop grasping, when you finally stop trying to hold it, when you finally stop trying to make things happen or do things. So now I'm at this point where I'm like, I ain't doing shit. I'm just reading the tea leaves in front of me. So, and that's literally the thing that unlocks freaking quantum Zeno effect that makes things move. So even though things might not be loud, just the fact that I stopped pushing buttons and just like, we'll see what happens. That might mean something. We'll see. So if you want to support the channel, the ways to do that in the description box below. I got to make something special for somebody tonight that did that the other day. I made the one thing that I didn't mention yesterday that might have something to do with it is yesterday I had this feeling in my chest, an energetic feeling of tenseness, of something, but my mind had no address for it. There was no like, feeling is here and thus that means this. There wasn't anything that it was leading anywhere, but I was aware of it. I'm like, what is this? Usually my mind has an answer for why it's happening, and my mind didn't have an answer for why it was happening. And then I'm having all those dreams and stuff. But I don't know. This seemed to freaking, this wasn't made for that, but this helped. I'd sold all the freaking Sophia Wisdom pendants. I can still make some more. But I was cleaning off my work table, moving the boxes around and reorganizing, and I found one more that I hadn't wrapped. So I did another. That's that one I said the stones look like the dark crystal. So that's the Sophia Wisdom pendant. And something about that actually made everything calm down a little bit. So I do have some more stuff. I don't think there's like a made to order listing on it. Usually the people are the ones that just contact me directly. But I can probably make it. I'd say probably at least 10 more of those. So it's a lot of purple stuff. It's like Celestial, Super 7, Oralite 23, Amethyst, with some sprinklings of just a couple of the Divine Feminine Goddess stones in there too. But that one's not about like Sophia Divine Mother. Sophia, it's like Sophia as wisdom, prudence, guidance, the purple. Anyway, all the links to everything are in the description box below. Kyleth and Lumen. See you next time.
I was lost in the shadows, bound by the night, searching for something beyond mortal sight. Then the waters called me, the fire burned bright, and I stepped through the veil into perfect